everyone, it's Sharana from Pay Your Weight, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Shy Season 3, Episode 2, Bruford. Y'all, if I said that they were doing the most in the season premiere of the Shy, like they said, you know what, season premiere, go ahead and hold my beer real quick. I'm just still so confused as to why we have not tied up loose ends from the end of season 2. There's like so much needs to be addressed. How much time has elapsed? Because I'm still confused as to how all of these storylines are supposed to add up with one another. But I guess I'm going to start with Emmett Raggedy Behind. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Emmett because he has the most obvious storyline of what is going to happen. But his storyline actually deals with the introduction of a new character. And so we see that I was shocked because after how Tiffany treated Keisha in last week's episode, I was just really shocked that she allowed Emmett to do a gig for his other baby mama. I'm starting to think like maybe Emmett didn't tell her what he was necessarily doing, but he was doing one of his baby mama friends' baby shower. And essentially, I thought it was really funny when he was like playing with his son. He's like, why is he always your son? When you finally get the chance to see him, but any other time it's my son. And then he's talking about he had an assistant bringing the food, and she was like, sorry, but you're broke. And I said, right, because Emmett, where did you get this money from? Because you haven't had money since season 1. You still ain't got no money. So I'm just trying to figure out where you got assistant from. But his Raggedy Behind go ahead and orders, I'm so sorry, excuse me. He orders Postmates, pays for all the food. I'm like, is that going to offset your costs? Like, how much did you charge her at this point for all the child support that you probably haven't paid back in the day? You probably should have did this for free. But I was just really confused as to how you're going to order Postmates and think that nobody is going to notice where you got this food from, because we saw as soon as that food came out and people started eating, they knew exactly where that chicken came from, where that barbecue came from, and baby mama just looking at him crazy. But what shocked me was the fact that she still paid this Negro to go ahead and bring all this extra food in. I was just like, at that point, ma'am, I wouldn't have been paying you anything. But I guess he really do got a third leg that can put it down, because the things that Emma gets away with from these women, I will never understand. But I felt so sorry for my girl when she saw the blue and the pink. I thought that they had messed up, but I was just like, Lord, you got 4 kids already? You finna bring twins into the world? My Lord. Okay, we're going to say a special prayer for her, okay? Because sometimes it just be like that. But we're introduced to this new character. And so we see after a conversation that Jada has with Tiffany, who's living with Emmett, which I love that Jada and Tiffany do have a relationship with one another. She brings her some cooking over, and then we're introduced to Lala's new character, Dominique, who basically is running like a whole restaurant out of her house. I was like, sis, she said, look, I ain't gonna never be late to work. Ain't gotta worry about who coming up and in and out of my establishment, because I was wondering why she was giving Emma the 3rd degree. And then she really had this fool pull his pants down and show her his pain. I said, ma'am, is the 3rd leg really that big? It has to be, because he got all these kids at this point. I'm just trying to figure out how somebody who ain't got no money, no car, okay, trying to have a get rich quick scheme every single week, how was this person still like some type of boyfriend, cut buddy? I wouldn't let that man look at me or touch me with a 10-foot pole, as many people that he has inseminated with his sperm, okay? I just could not do it. But we see that he basically talks Dominique into doing an after-hour spot. But I just need to know, did Sunny say that you could use his kitchen for the after-hour spot? Like, how is this supposed to work? I feel like this is going to be a bad idea. Something isn't going to work out right. But clearly what we can tell is that in the coming weeks, I say by episode 5. Let me see, this is episode 2. I say episode 4 or 5, Dominique and Emma go end up smashing one another. It's going to mess stuff up with Tiffany. But speaking of Tiffany, is Tiffany pregnant or is she not? Okay? Because at the end of season 2, she was pregnant. So I was confused. I'm figuring this is the reason why they moved in with one another. I don't know if she had a miscarriage or what happened. But I really would love for them to really address that, because I just see Tiffany smoking weed. I don't know how long, but I guess I'm going to have to keep saying this. I don't know how much time has elapsed, as to whether or not it's just a few weeks and she's not showing. I don't know what the heck is happening, but this goes into kind of like these subplots that were happening in season 2 that we don't know what the heck happened to it. I'm just highly confused. And Tiffany is definitely one of those sore spots for me because I just don't understand what is happening. But we'll talk about his mom, Jada. So Jada, I felt for Jada this episode because I've been speed dating before, and I would say, look, she had better talent than what I was working at the couple of times that I went speed dating. And I even had somebody who sat through a whole nother round. So much that I was just like, you know what? It's at the point where I cannot be respectful anymore since you disrespected me. I just got up and left. I said, you know what? I don't have to deal with this. I just don't. I don't want to talk to you. So I felt her. But then I was like, Jada, when she told the dude, Roger, I was like, hey, Roger, okay, you look like a little cute little Caucasian man. I said, all right, Roger, let's see what you're working with. But when he said cats, I was like, cats. I don't know how I feel about cats, okay? A cat scratched me when I was little, and I don't mess with them ever since then. But they are cute, just not cute to be in my house. So when she's talking about she hates cats, I was like, sis, you can't say that. Like, first see if you like him. Like, maybe, you can get you a little cut buddy out of this. I didn't say y'all got to be together. But I'm just saying, then she started talking about how the Egyptians used to kill the cats because they were inferior pets. I said, ma'am, what is going on? Roger better than me because I would have been got up and left. And then to make matters worse, when the dude got to the table, I was like, oh, look at that. They're trying to like symbolize how, Asian men and black women, they're like the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to dating preferences. But when she said, what part of Asia are you from? I said, Jada, what? Like, girl, I know you ain't been on a date in a long time, but it was never okay to ask somebody that question and just assume. Then she said, okay, but where are your parents from? I said, you know what? He tries to give you the benefit of the doubt. And he was very nice for how disrespectful you was. But I was just like, sis, just get up and leave. Like, please just get up and leave because I'm really confused. But what I do need to know is I need the number to her happy ending person. If my parents are watching, I don't know what they're talking about. I would just talk about regular massage person. But he got her right, y'all. When I say he broke that back in, he like broke it in, readjusted it, broke it back in again. And I was like, yes, Jada, you better get all that you can get. But what was the most hilarious part is when he's coming out and then him and Emma actually know each other. And when Emma realizes that this man was literally giving a happy ending to his mama, I literally died and cackled. But I was like, Emma, this would be the perfect job for you. I don't understand why you don't do this. I feel like this is what you were made for. You just need to wrap it up. But I was just like, look, let me find out somebody up in Atlanta doing some home visits. I'm just saying, people have needs. But of course, after Miss Rona makes her way to the upper room, because we can't be taking no chances like that. But I guess who we could talk about next is we could talk about Jake and Duda. So Duda fine behind. Jake come in the house bouncing his ball, and I love the music that they play when he basically tells Jake that his brother's alive, and Jake was like, well, he dead to me, and he was like, well, your brother wants you to come live with him. He's like, nah, I'm good. And then he was like, well, do you want to stay here? And then they play that music when he was like, then get your dang on shoes off of my hardwood floor. I was like, I mean, Jake, why are you being disrespectful like this? Like, I know Reggie used to let you run amok, but I don't understand how you just can't follow simple rules. But while I'm on the subject of Reggie, this is another subplot thing I have an issue with, right? So you guys can say, hey, Sharana, they basically wrap things up. Reggie got shot for him stealing money where he wasn't supposed to in order to pay Duda back. But even though Trigg shot the person who was responsible for ordering the hit on him, I just feel as though, Reggie ain't got no funeral. Like, we not going to say goodbye. I know Reggie won ish, but, we formed a connection, a bond with him, okay? I just thought it was weird that they just act like, okay, he dead. I know people die every day, all right? But he was still a character that was here for 2 whole seasons. I just feel like we could have did a little bit more than having Jake pour out some expensive wine on Reggie's behalf. I just thought that was a little insensitive for those of us who actually cared for Reggie raggedy behind. But we see that Trigg actually ends up going to visit Jake while he's working. And it's kind of like this cute conversation because Jake tried to play cool, what's good? I don't know you like that. And then he kind of reminds him, remember I used to take you and your friends to Six Flags every summer. And so when he tells him, hey, I just want to form a bond with you. I want you to come move in with me. And he's like, hey, let's take baby steps. And I was like, yeah, Trigg, you doing a lot all at one time. He's a teenager. He'd have been through a lot. He just lost his brother. Don't know his parents like that. Like, come on now. But I love when he said, like, if you want me to leave, I'll leave and I won't come back. And I'm just like, why are we giving ultimatums? But Jake was like, no, I don't want you to leave. So I'm sure they're going to end up forming some type of connection and getting to know one another. And then he going to tell him that Duda has something to do with Reggie's death. And this is going to be this whole thing. I'm pretty sure Jake going to end up being the one to kill Duda. That's just how I see it. Y'all let me know if y'all think I'm right or y'all think I'm wrong. But I think it's going to be Jake is going to be the one to actually kill Duda. So, unless Brandon mama come back and figure out what the heck happened and she just take care of him herself. Because like she said, I ain't got nothing else to lose at this point. But I thought it was funny that Duda did take Jake's phone and told him to play outside. And when he's telling Kevin, like, what is this, 1983? I was like, sir, what do you know about 1983? You weren't even thought of. What are you talking about? But we see Trig has a very interesting storyline. So Trig's girlfriend, Amani, they're kind of, Amani is starting her barber business. She's like cutting his hair at the beginning of the episode. And, she was like, I want to go out tonight. You taking me out tonight? He's like, what's the occasion? She's like, I'm the occasion. I said, you better tell him, girl. You better tell her what it is. But he makes it to be clear, like, hey, I don't want you thinking that we're here to set up roots. I am literally only here to get my brother back. So you can do your business. I just need you to understand that this is temporary. And when it's time to go, it's time to go. Their relationship is very peculiar. I don't know why I struggle with that, y'all. To me, because it seems as though they have a really great bond with one another, but it feels like they're on two different pages at the same time. And so we're given new information in regards to Amani when they go out and we see that they are at a gay bar. And so this man approaches him. Trig feels a certain type of way about it. But the way that this man read him for Phil, talking about you same people who try to fight us, to having you bent over, holding your ankles, screaming my name. I said, sir, you did not have to read him for filth like that, but I was here for every single moment of it because he wasn't telling no lies. But I felt like that whole storyline was kind of rushed and out of nowhere. Like, we're still getting to know who Trig and who Amani is. And while many may argue the point that, part of getting to know who they is understanding who Amani is and understanding the issues and the complexities of their situation, because in Trig's eyes, Amani is a woman and Amani is a trans woman. However, Amani still wants to feel connected to her community of people, no matter, how they self-identify. And so because he identifies as straight and he identifies Amani as a woman, he does not think that he is gay, but we can see that this is an internal battle that he is having with himself. And he clearly has issues as to what society would think about him. And while I think that that's an interesting storyline to introduce, it just felt very rushed to bring into the second episode. And also to me, I'm just being honest with you guys. I don't know if it's necessarily the dialogue that is written for Amani or just the acting alone for Amani, but I'm not 100% sold on her character, which I think that's why all of this was kind of just rushed for me. While I think it's an important topic for us to tackle, I just felt that I don't know, I just needed a slow burn of that to really understand all of the delicate layers and the complicated layers that is happening between Trig and also too with Amani's relationship. But yeah, so he ends up telling Trig, we kind of get more information as to Trig telling Amani like what happened to his father. His father used to work for the mayor's office, and after they kind of closed down the projects and they promised that they were going to build it back up, and when his father spoke out against this after years went by without them coming through on their promise, we see that he was fired. His dad went into a deep depression. He didn't have any money. He ended up leaving, which thrust his mother into a depression, started dating dope boys, got hooked on drugs. Trig started selling drugs, and we see how this cycle continues to go through each son, where we see Reggie fell into the same thing and Jake almost fell into the same thing, but Duda is saving him to do something even well, in his eyes better, but it's still the same thing, just in a different way at this point. But I thought it was really interesting to understand more of the backstory, because Reggie always alluded to little things about like their parents, but we never really got the full story. But also too, Reggie, Jake, and Trick all have different fathers. So that's a whole nother story. I guess we're going to get filled in on a little bit later. But the biggest plot of the series so far has to deal with Keisha. And so we see at the end of last week's episode that Keisha went missing. We see that I love how they opened up the episode with Solange, cranes in the sky, and as Kevin is really contemplating like what he should do next, like, you know, does he tell his moms what happened? You know, is he concerned that something might have happened to her? We see that he opens up the laptop, he texts her friend Malaysia, says that he hasn't heard from her. He sees all the missed text messages from all of her friends asking like, hey, like, where are you at? What is happening? But Kevin decides to try to take up for his sister or cover for her because he thinks she's just missing. And so we see this interaction between him and his mom where she thinks like, oh, so she didn't come home. What is happening? She thinks that something is wrong, but Kevin tries to brush it off anyway. And so we see that later in the episode after, you know, Kevin sees that his mom and Dre, they go to the school looking for her. I felt like the teacher was highly disrespectful for how she came at her. She's like, well, she'd be absent for a couple of days. And then she's like, well, isn't that your job? And then she told the mom, she's like, well, isn't that your job to take care of your kids? And I said, you know what? While you had a point, I was just like, you didn't need to come at her like that when she's really worried and concerned about her child. But we see that Kevin is hiding. He doesn't want his mom to see him because he is going to talk to Malaysia, who was so disrespectful. She is not a good friend. Anyone who is just okay with you being missing for 2 days. And the way that she said she don't trust nobody with the name Keisha and didn't want to give him all this info, I was just like, but Keisha, riddle me this. You going to Pepperdine, right? You got all these scholarships, but you messing with somebody from the 63rd Street, Mom. I'd rather you go back to Emmett broke behind. See, I almost cursed, Lord, because she made me so mad with that when I heard that information. But I was just like, I just don't understand the decisions that you make, Keisha. Are you trying to self-sabotage your future, your dreams, your goals? I don't understand. Maybe you just like, I don't know, child. I can't even wrap my head around it. But we see that things come to a head when they call the police. They have the police come. And I think it's very interesting this season because we don't have the detectives this season. That's why we have this presence of, we have Keisha missing, right? And it really alludes to how when our Black girls go missing, when Black women go missing, how the police really fails us, how they don't take these things serious. We see as the officer is getting the real information from Kevin and dismissing it like, oh, she probably just went with one of her little dudes. That's what my daughter did. And then she just gets up and leaves and talk about like, what about the missing person report? She's like, you can file it out if you want to. It ain't gonna do you no good. How the police continuously fail us, and how we see throughout the course of the episode that it's up to the community to actually go and search for Keisha. How we see Dre, who steps up, who's tracking her phone, got the computer from Kevin, really trying to figure out where Keisha was, and she traces her back to her last step, which was the bus stop. And then we now understand why Ronnie walked past her, because Ronnie is homeless. He is living in a homeless community that's right across the street. And so that whole interaction between them, it makes more sense now at the end of last week's episode to where we are now. Now, I thought Ronnie's friends were really disrespectful for saying that he was in a cult. But I was just like, y'all see Ronnie with this grocery truck. Y'all didn't know he was homeless. What did y'all think was happening at this point in time? But the way that the lady read him for Phil, talking about when she was trying to hit on Ronnie, Ronnie's like, well, I'm in a relationship now. She was like, what's her name? Brandy, Alizé, Hennessy. I said, ma'am, you didn't have to go that far. But I did get a little chuckle to myself for a moment. But yeah, back to the whole Keisha thing. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked because Ronnie is actually, no, let me take it back. Ronnie is one of those characters that has so much potential, and like they always write him in a good story at the beginning, and then it just they just disregard all of the great character development that they were giving us, the good storyline, and then Ronnie almost becomes useless at the same time. And I don't know if that's a point to do that, because he is this lost man that's continuously trying to find his way in the world, trying to figure out how to atone for his sins. But I'm just like, can we figure out something to do with Ronnie? If Ronnie don't get it together, just let him get it together and stay together. I just don't understand. But the actor, I think it's Natari, he does such a phenomenal job of playing Ronnie that I literally excuse all of this foolishness, but it still bothers me at the same time. But and I need to know what happened to Miss Ethel. Ain't nobody tell me what happened to Miss Ethel. Another subplot that I still don't know what happened, okay? Just saying. What happened to his daddy? What happened to his grandbaby? These are all questions that we don't have answers to. But we see that Kevin ends up getting information on where Nuck lives, and so he convinces Papa, who says like, y'all, I can't fight him, just let you guys know that that's not what I'm about, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do for you guys. And so we see that they end up going to the guy's house. Kevin tries to bum rush in. The dude pulls a gun on him, and he was like, what, you think that scared me? And then Papa's like, well, that scared the F out of me. I died laughing, but he was like, I ain't leaving without my sister. And I said, Kevin, you better stand up for your sister, because Kevin had me real heated in the episode when I saw they went into the flashback, and I don't know how his raggedy behind didn't realize that was a birth control pill that he ate. It really made me upset. And the way that the mama went off on her, I was like, at least she on birth control, boo. But like, I was just like, Kevin, when she told you always get me in trouble, which to coincide with why he was still trying to lie and cover up for Keisha in the first place, of him not really wanting to admit that something might be wrong with his sister. But I think overall for me with this episode, I think that there's a lot going on. And I will say there's a lot that interests me with how we're kind of setting up these plots for these characters. Especially, I'm really interested to see what plays out between Duda, Trig, and Jake. And then also to... I'm just here for giggles at this point for the whole thing with Lala and Jacob's characters, Dominique and Emmett, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be trouble in paradise for him and Tiffany at this point. But I just really need them to figure out, it seems as though, and I promise y'all I'm going to wrap this up. It just feels as though they got so, like, they had a knee-jerk reaction to everything that happened with Tiffany and Jason leaving from the first season. And they just felt like they had to add all this stuff to like make it juicy and have all these crazy subplots happening. But it just feels like it's way too much. It's like too much because you're introducing all of these new characters at the same time, but we still haven't wrapped up what happened with the other characters at the end of season 2. And I don't understand how we're going down this road and we never like tied anything up from the previous season to the point where the whole audience is confused because we don't know what's happening with Tiffany. We don't know what happened with Miss Ethel. We don't know the purpose of Ronnie this season. Like, we don't know what the heck happened to Keisha. Like, y'all gave Keisha more time to just make her go missing the whole season, and I'm just really confused about that. So I'd be very interested to know what you guys think. While I enjoy certain aspects of this episode as a whole, I just think it's still all over the place, and I really think that the writers need to hone it back in and just really focus on a certain amount of plots, or at least just take an episode to step back and really wrap up what happened last season so we can fully digest what is going on this season at the same time. But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts on The Chi. Season 3, episode 2, I think it was called Bruford. Yes. So those are my thoughts on the episode. As always, my name is Sharana from Para Waits. If you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.